as we operate the college. If it became important enough, and it was determined, and they sit down and they get to that portion of it, and decide that we want those doors locked, we could do that. We put signs up and, not for public entrance, and have our students come in the other way around. Our students tend to be average is 25, 26 years old. They come here, they go to the class, they turn around and go to work. They come from work and go here. So it's not your typical 4-year residential campus. It's a 2-year college, so they tend to be older. They tend to be focused on getting the class, and then they don't move around too often.
It's a lot of adults who haven't had background checks around a lot of kids.
Sure.
That scares me.
Yeah, that's where it's all going to be done later. They can walk around.
They said they didn't want to come back.
Yeah, so they can
Do you want me to grab any of these?
I would wait down at that end if you want them to come in.
Okay.
Thank you very much. And I think they're looking, my understanding, they're looking at all kind of, so in order to look at this, we have to do, let's get down to these. This is it. This would be where they would eat their breakfast and so on. The tables would be lined out here.
I'm sorry, I missed that. This is where they would eat. There would not be a cafeteria?
This would be renovated to the point that it meets the needs of the high school. Yes, but not when they're, well, not really, because it wouldn't be serving the general public unless the high school wanted to do that. This would be just for the high school. There's a cafeteria on the other side of campus known as Fireside, and that's where the students, our college students go. This has been closed for 2 years, 3 years, so they're used to not coming here. This would be just for, right now it's just going to be for the high school.
Do we know what the renovation costs might run and who's bearing that?
Not on this part. no.
Okay.
Have you been to the theater before?
I haven't. I've only been here for the arcade.
And this is another thing that we will need to sit down and schedule and share. But we did think there might be a lot of opportunity for our theater department, our music department, to share opportunities between their students and our students that will something to work.
So there would be a possibility that the tech crew at Owens, and if they're hired from outside, correct?
Yeah, our tech
So they
crew.
might mentor the tech.
Well, only if the high school wanted that. We're just saying that there'll be, for instance.
Would they allow
if
that,
we're
or are they
putting on
union?
If we're
I'm sorry.
putting on a production and the high school wanted to come down and watch it, they could watch it. That's the kind of thing we're talking about.
But what about the theater students in the high school who want to themselves learn how to, for example, run a light board? Is that allowed? Are your light board operators union?
Well, our light board operators we have one or two people that do that. We don't have a whole team of people that run that. And then anything that's specialized, we bring in.
Well, what about a Rossford drama department
Yeah.
production? How would that work?
Scheduled, they would just use, again, they just use the space.
But would they be allowed? Because I mean, the drama program's not just about the kids on the stage. It's as much about
Right,
learning
it's
tech.
about everything.
So would there be opportunities for the students to run their own tech here?
That, I'm going to defer to
Okay.
the faculty and the staff about what they could do. What we looked at was that we have this facility, we do have a theater department and a music department, but we don't use it every day. I mean, there are times we can schedule and make this available for presentations and programs for the high school. They can be pretty isolated from anything we do. I mean, those are the kind of things they can decide and work out on whatever people are comfortable with and what they want.
Is there like a theater major here where
Yes.
people, so this is used by them
Yes.
as a classroom?
Right,
and so
and they
forth?
do, I think, 2 productions a year. And we also rent out the space at times, so, but this would be just another resource for the high school to consider.
Where would like band students or music students, where would they rehearse? Or I'm sorry, where would they have class?
One of the larger classrooms that we looked at when we first looked, they were looking at taking one of those and walling that off. We want to make sure the decibel levels are appropriate for the students and everything like that. So there were a number of options for that. We also looked at storage. Storage is a real important piece of this.
Right.
Where do they put their band equipment, their uniforms, and those kind of things? And we found a space for storage. So far, everything facility-wise that's been required of us, we found an answer to. And all the other logistics we're working on.
Speaking of answers, I'm told that you could tell us maybe when did the school district in Owens start talking about this whole collaboration?
Well, I got an invitation, and they said that we'd like to talk to you about possibility of making this happen. I thought, wow, I've been through this before. It's interesting where I was at in North Dakota before I come here. I tell you, the people out west are very inventive, very innovative. They had built a new college, replaced the old college, and that college is 85 years old. And when they did, they moved the high school at the same time across the street. And so when I got out there, I found out that when the college decided to build a gym, the high school said, we'll build the gym, you build the theater, which is twice this size for community things. A lot of sharing. Then I started looking and finding out, and just recently, I think I shared with you, of course I was at Mott Community College, and they've got a middle college, which they have students from 17 districts that come to the middle college campus. Out in Maryland, there is a college called Prince George Community College. They just recently, in this last year, moved the high school. In fact, I think they moved it from junior high up to that school. Why? The price of the brick and mortar. Very expensive in the resources. A year ago, we met, all the presidents met with the governor, and he had also the state superintendent Ross there in that meeting to talk about use of facilities. And at that time, I hadn't even had any discussion, been involved in the discussion, but again, he made a point that there are so many facilities that are underutilized, and he wants to see that happen before he'll ever give any more capital money for any kind of brick and mortar. And it's logic behind it. It's very expensive. But we also take a look at what's happening today in education. Some schools and some states, I've got a granddaughter that's going, she just graduated, but she went year-round. 12 months out of the year over in Indiana. College Credit Plus. Now they've backed it up, and I'm not so happy with that. They backed it up to 7th grade. And we do have a young lady down in Finley who's in the 7th grade. She's 11 years old. And normally you don't see an 11-year-old in the 7th grade. But when you start seeing students, and we had 2 students come across our stage in the auditorium, that got their associate degree before they got their diploma. We're going to see more and more of that. If you think of the cost of saving money for your parents to take the College Credit Plus, for those students to be able to get anywhere from, you can get up to 60 some credits if you're smart enough, and apply yourself and start in the freshman year. And so we're seeing more of that. So the key is if we can be part of that, student success is what we're at. You know, I want to see every student success, and I've got some history with Rossford. I got to share this with you. 1966. We thought we had the best basketball team in the state until we went to the state, and there was a team from Rossford, and they beat us.
Where were you?
1966.
What team did you?
Southeastern High School.
Can I
down in
ask-
Chillicothe, Ohio.
I'm sorry, I must have missed the answer to the question, which was when were you first approached? When you were invited?
Oh, it's been probably 4 or 5 months ago
Okay.
that I was asked to sit down and talk and discuss what
Was
is
it the
it that we.
superintendent who contacted you?
Pardon me?
Was it the superintendent who contacted you?
There was 5 or 6 people talking about, you know, what are the possibilities. We didn't say about moving to high school, but being able to provide high school space for high school students that wanted to be involved here at the college. So, yeah.
I'm sorry, we haven't met. I'm Beverly Dulles Cook on the school board.
Sure. Okay, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Before higher education, I was in business and industry for 20 years. Ford Motor Company and RCA. We would not rely on schools to give us students because they didn't have them career ready. We built our own training facilities, and we trained our people, apprenticeships. One of the areas that I was responsible for was women in apprenticeships, electrical, pipe fitting, those kind of things. Very concerned. Today it's even got bigger. I've got companies calling on us and saying, how can we get students? And it's not only in the skilled trades areas. It's in other areas, critical thinking, those kind of things like that. The sooner we can get students involved, and that's where I'm really concerned. And I think about the northwest part of the state. We're losing. You know, you can look this state up. From 2008 to 2014, Ohio was #1 of the number of people from age 24 to 50 that left the state. It was very high in this area because of manufacturing. We want to stop that. And the only way you can do that, and I work with economic development people, we've got to hold on to our students.